We're gonna slow it down. We're gonna slow it down. Wow, I like that. So in the Mexican culture, they was using the people amongst the communities to help the babies. Basically, like unity at its best. A village. You know what I'm saying? And in Africa, they just killing it. My boy said we one of the top leading literacy.
We are.
We are the top. What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction.
Let's go.
Super excited about this video, guys. If you're new to us and we're
new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 100K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
The other four countries here tonight are the Gold Coast and the Philippines, India, and Mexico. But let me introduce you now to the students who are here for the discussion. First of all, Alfred Bannerman from the Gold Coast. We call him Nini. He had a good time down at Atlantic City High School when he became a member of the Mighty Molecules, wasn't it?
Yes, the Chemical Society.
The chemical club in the high school. Next is Chitranjan Kapoor from India. Cheat, as we call him, 16 years old, had an especially good time up at St. Mark's, Kent School, because he feels at home in an atmosphere where the students call the masters sir. Francisco Arellano, whom we call Paco, comes from Mexico. Okay. He's 17, working real hard in the high schools here, but he works even harder at home because Paco is going to two high schools at once. A Mexican high school in the daytime in case he wants to go to a Mexican university, and in spare time, an American high school in case he wants to go to MIT.
You can do that?
Finally, Genevieve Martineau from France.
Okay, yeah.
And,
the deep tone. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Ralph, I'm sorry.
We have, what the first one from India?
Nigeria.
No, that's Ghana.
No, Ghana, I'm sorry. So Gold Coast is Ghana.
Yeah, Ghana, India, Mexico.
The Philippines.
And the Philippines. That's some good, that's got to be a good panel.
Yeah, which one? Captions on with this one?
Yeah, we can do captions.
Raul Contreras from the Philippines, 15 and a half. Tonight, we're talking about colonial areas, former colonial areas, and their part in the world, areas that are now talked about as underdeveloped areas. Before we get back into the discussion, I think we ought to define just what you mean by underdeveloped. What do you mean by underdeveloped area?
I think underdeveloped area is one which was up till some time back under the domination of some foreign power, and that power did not develop the resources of that area because it wanted to profit itself, and it may have developed incidentally, because it in the process of its own economic development.
How much of the world is underdeveloped, would you say?
I think a large part of the world, about 75% of the world's population, and about 50% of the world's area, inhabited area.
Well, 50% of the world population is considered to be literate, and another 50% of the world's inhabited area or population is said to be underdeveloped. And undernourished is what he means, enough food.
I think the UN figures are about half the world is both hungry.
Half the world.
Half the world.
I should think so, because Africa, for instance, has got a large part of underdeveloped area. And Southeast Asia, for instance, has got a large part of underdeveloped area. And likewise...
Does that surprise you, Genevieve?
Yes, it does, really. Because in my country, we have some poor peoples, but we haven't got an idea of the half of the world could be so poor and doesn't have enough to eat. Or...
well, not actually poor in my case. I mean, not developed technically. Because if you come to Africa, we are not poor in the Gold Coast, for instance. We've got a lot of food, and it is monkeys who eat bananas, which you really like in France. And so, actually, not that we are poor, but, we are not developed technically, I should say.
No, but I think what she means is that 1/3 of every of the population of the world earns a year $50. Their national income, their yearly income, it amounts up to $50 a year.
A third of the world's population.
A third of the world's population, yes. And that's definitely...
Now,
did it ever, ring a bell to you when money just started to Like when the value like really started to increase.
Change.
Because I remember my parents and grandparents was saying how burgers was like a cent or something. A few cents.
Yeah, like 10 cents.
Yeah, now it's $1.50, $5, $6.
No, you remember when we were like in elementary school and you can get a bag of chips for 25 cents?
Okay, now pause on that. We had a location called Penny Savers.
Oh, yeah,
and we'll walk to the little grocery store and we'll buy literally like just about bag of chips and things like that for a penny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not that old, y'all, but times were still in the
real. So imagine how it was back then in the 50s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We still in the 50s. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 50s. So like 25 cents would have probably got some bread and some eggs.
You making $50 a year?
A year.
Is that so? Is that good for them at this time?
I won $50 a year.
It don't sound good, but somebody
maybe
was.
A month.
No, they said a year. You need me to rewind it?
Now we have some, older.
They said a year.
We have some older supporters. Let us know, like, but I can't imagine 50.
I gotta rewind it. We're gonna take that 10 back.
I can't imagine $50 a year like that.
Let's see.
We are poor, but I mean, we are not developed technically, I should say.
No, but I think what she means is that 1/3 of every of the population of the world earns a year $50. Their national income, their yearly income, it amounts up to $50 a year.
A third of the world's population.
A third of the world's population, yes.
They earn
and that's
less
definitely
than $50 a year, and 2/3, I think, earn less than $200 a year.
So it is very low.
It may be fascinating to some, but to us in India, it's not, because we see it every day, and we know that it's quite true. Because in India, the average income of a rural worker is about annual income is about $22 only.
$22 a year.
$22 a year. Yeah, only 22.
Tell me, are there any vestiges of colonialism left in those of your countries that formerly belonged to another power?
In India, there are quite a lot. For example, we have illiteracy, ignorance among the masses, and the British tried to increase the class also, the class disintegration.
Well, in my case, I think it is the political pattern, which to me is very bad. I think that's the last trace of colonialism, which, exists in the Gold Coast now. Because I think the Gold Coast is living right through the last stage of colonialism now. I think we are now on the threshold of self-government. And so there is no mistake in my saying that, we got colonial institutions in the Gold Coast now.
Speaking about the Philippines, well, the most significant trace of colonialism that we have right now is the Catholic religion, which Spain brought over. Yes, and there are so many traces of it, too, in the pattern of education in most of the private schools.
School is not compulsory in your countries, is it?
Well, in the Gold Coast, it's not, but it is free in the primary stages.
The Indian Constitution says that every...
And I think it's like that still till today.
Yeah.
In Africa, in some locations, school is free.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids can go and educate, for free.
Yeah. And I don't know. This conversation got me thinking, like, when he was talking about the Catholic religion and how it's in some schools, like some private schools that we have, some of them are Bible-based, but I don't know if I necessarily see that as colonialism. I don't know.
Well,
because I feel like, they have Christian private schools. They have Orthodox. I can't say it. Orthodox.
Yeah,
schools,
that's the one.
Catholic schools. That's Christian, but I'm thinking there's a lot of different schools that's Bible based when it comes to private school.
Right.
I don't know. I'm thinking. Well, like our country was necessarily supposed to be a Christian country. The Pledge of Allegiance, our Constitution, and all that. I don't know.
God we trust.
Y'all got me thinking. I'm over here
Child should get at least primary education, if not more than that, in the next 10 years.
The same is true in my country, and what's more, the only thing that I really think that colonialism has left behind is the hatred for the gringo that, amounts to quite
Hatred for the gringo?
Yes.
You mean us by that, don't
you?
Yes. Is there a lot of it in Mexico?
A lot. As a matter of fact, I don't think you could imagine how much you're not liked in Mexico.
Maybe you better tell us, Paco.
Tell us, Paco.
He's like, he looking square, like right dead in her eyes when he's talking like that too.
Yeah, but that goes to show you, like, regardless of what's going on around you, that doesn't mean, like, okay, let's say you're from a specific place that's known for a specific thing. That doesn't mean that every single person thinks like the majority.
Right.
You know, because most of the time we think differently than other people. So, you know, never judge people based off of where they're from.
Yeah.
Now there's quite an amount of reasons for this. Most of the, I believe that the principal reason for this is that most in every Latin American country, I'm not speaking it alone for Mexico or by Mexico, the foreign companies, that is English, French, and American companies control practically everything. And you find that unless you have the raw materials, that is that the nation controls its own raw materials, cannot progress. And it cannot progress because in order to make investments go around, it has been forced to sell to the companies, to the foreign companies, legal concessions. And those legal concessions, even though they do give a small profit to the nation, it is not the same as it would be if they could hold everything. So you see, there is a reason there.
But Paco, is this dislike of the gringos, as you call us, as great now in Mexico as it was, say, at the time of the expropriation of the oil?
Well, not exactly. It was, see, you've heard a lot about the hospitality in Mexico, and all of it is true, but the thing is that most of the people who go to Mexico, tourists or whatnot, they go with the idea of trying to compare their standard of living, and you cannot do that with any country of the world, because it's well known for everybody that the United States has the highest standard of living.
I'm sure every one of the students would agree that you
can compare it. Yeah,
exactly.
That's 100%.
Exactly. I feel like, you know, we've been diving in a lot of content on and off camera. And we'll come across a vlog and the person is comparing, you know, maybe the toilet to, you know, our toilets and how, oh my God, I am not drinking from this and blah, blah, you know, things like that. Like, why did you go out of the country? If you're going to complain about every single thing, you know, and me being the person that I am, I like nice things. I like luxury, you know, but if I'm going to a place that, you know, the standard of living is a little bit different from my standard of living, first of all, I'm going to look for the best of the best.
Right, no matter
no matter what. But at the same time, let's say, like, if we go to, you know, out and about to a tourist attraction or just, you know, in a rural area, I'm not going to go to that place with that mindset of everything has to be up to par. And I think a part of that comes from, I wasn't born with a silver spoon. You know, I've been without before. I've had, I'm not gonna go into my life.
I feel like we just we grew up with the mindset of being thankful. You know what I'm saying? Not living up to not trying to have expectations of everything you come across. There's things that's going on around this world that you're gonna see with different schools, different restaurants. Everything is different. Nothing is going to be up to par to your tasting, no matter what you think. Unless you put yourself in an environment that you know is like that for you, and that's it. That's all. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you can't be doing that.
All right. You brought up the topic of schools. I remember when I was in elementary school, and our water fountains was outside. You remember how the water fountains look?
The one with where you had to tap it to make the water come out, or just the long one where all the kids get together.
It's just on.
Yeah, I remember them. The white.
I know their water bill was high, but on. And I remember we went visit another school for a field trip for a play, and they had the fancy, like, it was a newly built school, so they had the fancy water fountains where it's a button to turn it on, and I remember looking at it like, what is this? How you work this? How they got this? Like, I just remember looking at it and just comparing.
But then you got to think about it in your childhood, because I did this coming up. We left the water hose running. So when we just run outside and we going crazy and we super tired, we just run. You know, everybody get a quick drink by the ditch and we back outside.
Yeah, kids today would think that's nasty.
Oh, they don't know. They don't know the half.
Can't compare it. Cheat, I wanted to ask you a question. What about the idea of white supremacy? Is that dead in Asia?
What exactly do you mean, Ms.
When we were talking about vestiges of colonialism, we know that for a time in Asia, there was, whatever you want to call it, a myth or an idea or a supposition of white supremacy. Is that completely dead now?
At least in India, we don't have any color thing in it. We don't say that the white is better than the colored. All are equal.
Well, I think in Africa it is side by side. I mean, it's now dying, and at the same time, we are giving birth to new white supremacy. If you come to the Gold Coast now, it is dying, and obviously, I think before the end of this year, the whites are going to, get out the supremacy from the Gold Coast. But if you go to certain parts in Africa, it is now reviving. I mean, it's awakening from the death.
One more question to you, Chief. What about, you say there's no difference between Western and Eastern. What about the Anglo-Indians in India, the people who are half European and half Indian? Are they fully accepted members of society?
Oh, yes, they're as fully as myself.
There are no disabilities whatsoever?
No, not at all. Our constitution gives them, I think, some special rights also.
Interesting.
Because they're in the minority group, so they have more rights than us even. More advantages also. They have some members specially nominated to parliament for their sake, though they are free to take part in all the elections.
Now you've gotten us on the verge of another subject that I'd like to go into next, which is what we're talking about underdeveloped areas and how you're developing. What activity, what developmental activity in your country right now is your government most concerned with? I think we'd like to hear from each of the four of you on that.
Well, I think in my country, we've got three phases of development. The first one is agricultural development, the second one is educational, and the third one is political.
Well, as to my country, I do believe that the greatest campaign that the government is taking now into consideration is the education of the masses and not of the individuals. And to
Can you tell us in Mexico how quickly you have raised the literacy rate?
Well, I think that all of it has been based in patriotism, ma'am. About, I guess 10 years ago, there was a campaign. It was coming from the presidency of the nation, and it said that every Mexican should teach 5 Mexicans. And if we could accomplish that, within a number of 5 to 10 years, we could have most of the people to know how to read and write.
Well, I think
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Did you teach?
Well, I think coming to that point...
Just let Raul...
Did you perform any sort of that education which you said the government...
well, I myself, I did, up to a certain extent.
Not your maid by any chance?
My maid, yes. I tried.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think coming to that point, the Gold Coast is the leading country so far in the world in the campaign against mass illiteracy. Okay. Because we are using the low batch system to educate people who couldn't get the opportunity.
What is that, Nini?
Well, it is something like visual aids. We use signs. For instance, if we want to teach the letter S, we use the sign of snake. And we draw the snake just like the S.
Yeah,
and so when the fellow sees the snake, the moment he sees the snake, he gets the letter in the head. And so he starts learning how to write S through seeing the snake. And
how long does it take under this system to teach people to read and write?
I think just about 3 weeks. It takes 3 weeks, yes.
Learn the whole alphabet in 3 weeks.
All right, we're gonna slow it down. We're gonna slow it down. Wow, I like that. So in the Mexican culture, they was using the people amongst the communities to help the babies. Basically, like unity at its best. A village, you know what I'm saying? And in Africa, they're just killing it. My boy said we one of the top leading literacy.
We are.
We are the top. Excuse me. That's fire.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know why it's shocking because, I've dabbled in preschool education before, and that is what I taught 2-year-olds.
The snake,
and they catch on like that.
With the snake mythology?
Even an apple, I forgot what B for ball.
B for ball, B for bee.
It'll become the bee, So the 2-year-olds caught on very
But to hear him say that at a time like this.
Yeah. 3 weeks.
And then 3 weeks, and she was shocked. She was shocked, y'all. 3 weeks is like maybe a little, not too, you know what I'm saying, a little up to speed, but for her it's like, that's fast.
Yeah, and that's good. We've seen what Ghana has become, so.
Come on now. Yeah.
People are able to read and write in 3 weeks. Well, and after the end of the campaign, they get certificates.
Don't you think that form of educating those illiterate ones is sort of primitive or?
No, the point is, it was invented by a French scientist, it's a new system. And most of the people who undertake this education are elderly people. You see people at the age of 80 or 100 coming to learn how to read and write, before they die.
No, but I really... Go ahead.
I think it's the best system you can get, but it operates best in Africa, especially in the Gold Coast, simply because we do get
snakes.
No, not Gold Coast.
Well, if you want to operate that mostly in the sidewalk,
You've got tarantulas, haven't you, in Mexico?
Well, I mean, we get people coming from all parts of the world coming to see how we do operate on that system. We've got a lot of Americans visiting the Gold Coast, and the UNESCO is very much interested in that program.
Well, how about the Mexican system when you taught so many people to read so quickly?
Yeah.
Did you use any simplified system like this?
Well, we couldn't have a letter that looked like a car in the street, though, but what we did was that the government gave out this special tablets, you could say, and they had all the letters, principal letters, and basic principles to anybody to explain to anybody. And it really worked, and I'm very much surprised to find out from Gold Coast right here that he thinks that Gold Coast is far way advanced than any other country.
Oh,
way of thinking.
Not in this particular system. The UNESCO acknowledges the Gold Coast as being the leading country in the campaign against mass illiteracy.
When you may say, baby, I'm coming with statistics.
Oh, and he always do. And he always do.
Right.
Last video,
this ain't opinion.
It's facts. He probably read it, seen it, read it through 5 different books.
Yes.
But I do like that the government in Mexico was definitely coming back to the people and giving them things that they can use to build their people up in their community. I don't know where we're doing this in today's time.
We gotta go to a class, like if.
I mean, maybe there's buildings now for that, but
yeah, but I mean, you know, here in America, there's always programs at libraries, social services that try to help the people. I can say that it tries to get people a job. It tries to, you know, teach them basic life skills. I can give them that, and it's accessible.
Yeah,
it's just you got to.
I think
inquire.
Where I'm going with this is visualizing how they were doing it with the tablets and with the people.
They was just handing it out.
So they had to come together. It wasn't probably, maybe there was a building or so, but it wasn't as it is now. So punctual where you can just mind your business and do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It seems like back then they were actually going to the neighborhoods, handing it out. Or they could have, you know, they could have been able to just go somewhere. Like,
I mean, at today's age, everything is working just as it's supposed to. But I feel like back in, like, even selling a CD out your trunk, you get so much, you know, personal with the people because you're in their face. Yeah. But now it's like you can mind your business and succeed. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh, I want to go learn a second language. Let me go look at the library, see what they have.
See?
Yes, they're pretty proud of your campaign against it. I think this is a wonderful subject on which you can compete with each other and see who's best. Paco, you were interrupted a moment ago when you were telling what part you had in this mass literacy campaign. Did you teach 5 people how to read and write?
Well, not quite 5 people, man, because I wasn't much of a teacher. I did it when I was 13, and I taught my maid how to read and write.
And she got her certificate, did she?
Well, she got my certificate.
Now, we skipped 2 of you when we were talking about what developmental activity your government was stressing most. What about India, Chet?
At present, our government is concentrating on heavy industry because the government realizes the importance of the heavy industry. See, any nation who has to be free and advanced has to have its own machine-producing machines. And we should not be dependent on any other country for those machines. And until and unless we get them and produce them in our country, we can't be advanced as other countries are.
That's great he said that, because that takes me back to Judith. Judith was her name?
Judith.
When she was saying how they was helping these other countries because they was bringing in their machinery from the British. And she was like, that's why they was doing what they was doing. That's why they felt like they was helping, because they had them in the machinery connect. You know what I'm saying? So as long as they had that, it was like, yeah, we helping y'all. We doing y'all a big favor. We building up y'all landscapes with this type of work. And now I understand why he's saying that, to be, you know, not so dependent on people.
Right. And it's interesting that he's saying this, and we're watching this, because in our recent State of the Union address of our country, the president was saying that, you know, we should be having our own products. So, like, on the back of our shirts, we already know where our stuff come from. So it's going to be interesting to see that, you know, for majority, our entire life, it's only came really from one place, and to see America rise in that factor, that's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's a curveball waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that we're not giving any attention to other things. Dam building and literacy works and all those, they are going on. But the most importance is being given to heavy industry at present.
How about the Philippines, Ralph?
Ours, on the other hand, my government is stressing very much importance on the development of the agricultural industry. And most of the aid comes from the United States, I should say.
Tell us a little bit more about it, will you, Raul? What is the program?
Well, you see, the Philippines and America are involved in a democratic partnership, as they call it. It's sort of a system wherein they try to foster closer and a more harmonious relation between the peoples of the two countries. And it also includes the sending of U.S. equipment and commodities to the Philippines as approved and recommended by Philippine and American experts. But the Philippine government also plays a part in that. They have to provide the money so that those commodities sent by America can be used.
Oh, wow. How many Americans do you think you have in Philippines at present?
Americans?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly, but I can tell you that the aim is to have a more diversified economy for the Philippines, greater production, and a higher income for the agricultural and industrial laborers.
I mean, you get most of those things free, or you get it, I mean, in forms of, I mean, loans and all those things?
Well, we get most of them free.
Oh, well, I'm afraid of this point, because we don't believe in getting things free from any country.
No, there's a selfish purpose in behind all of that.
Yes.
Well, I don't think so. There is a selfish purpose.
There must be.
Because the purpose of America is to strengthen Philippine economy, because it believes that the Philippines gets much of its strength from developed rural communities.
And I believe that the partnership is still ongoing today. So it seems to be a healthy partnership, you know, that worked out for them and us, I guess. Yeah.
We have a lot of partnerships.
Yeah.
I feel like we're always in someone else's business. But they was doing it for free at such a time. And it's interesting to hear him come out of the blue. You know, we no handouts, sir.
Yeah, it's nothing free.
None of that. I agree.
I always feel like there was a term that my aunt used to tell me it's not an appropriate term. But nah, nothing in life is free.
Nah, nothing. I feel like. What y'all guys think about that? Put that in the comment section, please.
Well, and in how I take it to be. I've seen that America is very much interested in the Far East countries, simply because they fear, I mean, there might be some communist colonization in those countries, you know, especially the Philippines. I think it is of strategic importance to the United States. Well, if you come to Africa, for instance, I mean, we lack most of these things, you know. We don't get American aid.
Well, I should say, Nini, I guess all of us are against certain communistic principles, if not all. And in strengthening the Philippines, don't you think that it also strengthens the free world in some way?
Well, it doesn't strengthen the free world. I mean, it helps towards, democratic colonization.
The American way, I suppose.
I want to get Raul to give us some more information about how do you have any personal background of experience with this land?
I have a personal experience in this kind of work. You see, in the Philippines, we have what we call the Federation of Free Workers. And the purpose of this is to higher the, shall we say, the standards of the working conditions of laborers, especially the farmers. Now, with regards to farmers, we have a branch under that, the Federation of Free Farmers. And the Federation of Free Farmers has another branch, the Junior Federation of Free Farmers, to which I belong. That started in a Jesuit school, ironically, and I belong to a Benedictine school. Well, you see, this is how we do it. We form committees, and every weekend we go to the remote barrios, about 100 or so miles from the city of Manila, the capital of the Philippines. And, well, we bring with ourselves some form of books, magazines, and rice and corn seeds, these flour bags, and we sell them to the people of those small communities, which, can't be reached so easily, at a very low price, you see. And most of the time, all of the time, we have to endure so many hardships.
Who subsidizes the price? The Americans?
No, not the Americans. We have funds, you know. We get them from the students of the colleges. There are sorts of membership fees.
Something like charity.
Something like that.
Oh, I see.
With regards to the hardships that we encounter, it's most of those lands are below the mountains where there are operations going on between communist and government forces. So we have to, well, the fear of dying, so we have to receive Holy Communion almost every time we go there.
Oh, Lord.
And
do you have many communists?
Well, it's slowly fading away, you know, and it's not accessible to transportation. So we have to use these Carabao wheel carts, and we ride on them.
What are
and
they?
Sometimes when the people don't expect us to be going there, usually, well, we have no food to eat, so we turn to unripe bananas and these hard bread that they make in the provinces.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so I love that they bring it to the people who can't reach it.
Yeah.
You know, because the common goal, the greater common goal, is to build their agriculture in their country.
Yeah.
So I respect that. But as I'm listening to them, I'm thinking to myself, at 14, we was going through like a historic election around that time. I don't remember what age, but around, high school years, we were going through a historic election. So, yes, I was very involved in politics, economics, free enterprise and things like that. But other than that, I don't think I was this, involved, this knowledgeable about my government. So I got to give it up to them. They know a thing or two.
Yeah, I feel like times was definitely in your face at this part. Like, when you wake up, that's all you see on TV. You feel the energy when you walk out your doors. The school was talking about it. It was more principle-based. You know what I'm saying? Lifestyles. Yeah, man, I agree with you. Big shout out to them for this, because our times is different,
Very different. We was concerned about football games.
Yeah, look, and some nachos or something.
Yeah, our school winning the football game. That's what we was concerned about.
Government do you have? Do you have, democracy?
We have a democracy.
After the American pattern or after the British pattern?
It's after the American.
Naturally.
Oh, no wonder.
When did America become interested in Philippines?
It always was.
America was, it started around the late 1800s, when America took the Philippines away from Spain.
I see.
But, well, the Filipinos are sort of hostile and so recalcitrant that they thought at first that America was selfish. But when America liberated the Philippines from Japan, they really found out that the spirit with which America did those things was a spirit of brotherhood, to help the fallen brother rise up once more.
Oh, well, how many natural resources have you got?
Okay, so this is interesting because in a way, what do you call it? A democratic partnership. In a way, it's we don't hear a lot about America doing good. And this is a person who came from a country, that was conquered under colonial rule. America, stepped in, took them away, and basically, sent them resources, aid, whatever they needed to help grow their country. And to hear him, he has a good stance on America.
He do.
We don't hear that often on these reactions. So that's different to hear.
Yeah, I think also, though, the importance of his conversation is expanding their territory. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just business all around the board. Expanding your territory, whether it's through land or through business with other countries. And I think that's a great thing. But my man right now, he's trying to get him to see something about the free work that they're getting, because he think there's some type of secret agenda with that. Yeah,
and again, their ages and for their interest to be so on this.
That's a bar.
It's
big.
Different. It just shows the turn of the tide of the generations. Again, we were worried about football games. We were worried about where we're going to college, what we're going to major in, what we want to be in life. We wasn't worried about our government.
Yeah, and that's just,
like that.
I've said this before, that's just the different levels and walks of life as time was evolving.
Right.
So we have a certain age where technology was in our face and we watched the growth of it. Then you have another age where people are born into technology. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, y'all don't know nothing about these little Nintendos, blowing cartridges and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got VRs. Y'all are walking into this type of lifestyle. So it's different times, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we can still get to this.
Yeah.
Where people can be invested, but
I feel like unless they have a genuine interest in that, It's kind of hard for today's children to focus on stuff like that. Because, of course, you know, we went through a recession.
Put the phone down.
Yes, we went through a recession during our high school years. So that's when we started like, okay. Because I remember going to my free enterprise teacher just furious. I'm like, they have these layoffs. My family members got laid off. Tell me what's going on. And he actually told me what's going on. I love that class.
Yeah.
Like, I was the one in front of the class. All of this, my classmates would be like, Sierra, continue asking the questions. Continue. I'm gonna take this
because they want to chill. They're ready for the bell to ring after a few more conversations. You feel me?
And most of the time, it would just be me and my teacher just going back and forth, and like he taught me so much. And I guess that's kind of why like my interest is still kind of there. But like other than that, when I left that class, I got what I needed to know, the knowledge I needed to know. I would research things on my own, but other than that, I was not worried about this. They know things.
You was in politics at a young age and didn't even know it.
But like, and my dad also.
Yeah, of course. Of course, you know. my father-in-law, my man. Yeah, you was in. I think that's just how it's supposed to be today. You gotta spark those conversations. Put the games down, the electronics. Nothing wrong with having them, but put the electronics down and work that mindset. Like spark those conversations with them babies because they have to see what life is offering them other than the videos that's on tablets or TV shows.
Like these exchange students, you'll think that they are little aides with the government.
Come on now,
they know a lot.
They do.
Because I fear, if America is interested in the Philippines, simply, America is interested because she wants to exploit your natural resources for her own benefit.
We have a lot of natural resources, you know.
Well, I see a very easy reason why any country should be interested in another country. Moreover, when this country is far east and when it has the resources, and when it's, as you said, has still communism within the island.
I still say that America has the motive of strengthening the Philippines in order to strengthen the free world.
Excuse me, I want...
They both right.
You know...
They both right. I feel that because America is doing it for a very great motive. They're investing in such a way that's going to, hey, we're going to watch our rise after offer our investments. But the other brothers, they're looking at them like, yeah, but they being slick with it. And y'all not noticing it. Because eventually they're going to do something and they're going to remind you they did it.
Yeah, but look at our taxes, right? In our
Lord, Texas,
our bill,
Lord, Jesus Christ,
the government bill. So many hundreds of thousands. What are we in the trillions?
Oh yeah, we're in the trillions.
Go out to other countries.
We're in the trillions. Yep.
And I remember like during the pandemic, like our package was nothing compared to other countries, and that's when I think people, the citizens, really started to pay attention to where the government money was going. And so many people was like, why are we sending all this money to other countries? Reasons like this.
Well, guess what? Now when you visit, it's diverse and you have a good place with them.
I feel like all countries, in a way, help each other.
Well, but we have
some countries are exploited, though.
Yo, we've seen videos where other countries are beefing with other countries and you can't go there.
Yeah.
Because if they find out where you're from and they know that their government is not fooling around with your government, some people are very intellectual based about the groundwork of their countries, and they're going to see you as a outcast. They're not going to want... they're going to see you as a threat, bro, like real talk. So to build those trading habits and build those relationships where you can have a trust with one another is highly important. Again, I just think it's territory. You know what I'm saying? Because if we cool over there, that means I can go whenever I'm ready. You feel me?
Yeah, it's just
expanding territory.
To get back to some of your personal experiences, we can learn so much from them as we understand what's going on in your countries today. You were talking about the inaccessibility of some of these villages that you go into. It was caribou carts. Cheat asked you a question and then the answer got lost. Caribou carts that you go on to get there?
Yes, Mrs. Waller.
And what else?
Oh, well,
you ever have to walk or hike into them?
Well, not so much hiking, but sometimes we have to take away, the tires of jeep wheels, and we'll let them run on the tracks.
Wow.
On the railroad tracks. Fortunately, they fit most of the time on the tracks.
Oh, wow.
What if they don't then? If they
don't, well, we do some hiking.
I never knew that a jeep wheel with the tire taken off would fit on a railroad. You just use the real means of transportation.
To me too.
Wow.
Now look, all of you who are here have got exceptionally good educations, or you wouldn't have been chosen. But I'd like to know what your schools are doing in your countries to prepare the kind of people that your countries are going to need. Obviously, with these new purposes, you're going to need a different kind of educated men.
Well, in the Gold Coast, I mean, it depends upon the educational system. We have stiff examinations as we go along. And so people who, I mean, we are able to divide the people into classes. People who are fit for technical education go to technical schools. People who can do the academic work go to the academic schools, I mean, the ordinary high schools. And people who, I mean, can do the vocational work go to the trade schools. And so by doing so, we are able to get, I mean, the people for the engineering side and the people for the academic side.
I gotta say it, and now we got everybody in class. That's how it is now. Yeah. Everybody in class with the expectation to know this. You can figure out what you want to do later in life, but we need you to get through this first.
Yeah, the Common Core. Ooh,
Common Core. Man. Hey, I leave that to Babe to do that. I'm not.
Common Core.
I try. I dip and dabble, but
no, because it switched the year we were graduating.
No, you can't do the math like this, Dad. It's supposed to be done like this.
Oh, our son.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, it's a headache. It is a headache.
Yeah, it really is. But again, it's just like, if we had it to where, you know, investing them now with the age that they at to do what they called to do, you would just like, bro.
But we
that'd be crazy.
In high school, we did have vocational schools and trade schools that you could sign up to go to, like the nursing. Did that. You did?
Yeah, they had children doing nursing, but I was in the architect the arts field. Yeah. So they sent me away from school at a certain, like early in the mornings or on weekends, and I would go to another course and I would work on my gift. Yeah,
I didn't do it.
Well,
but they had like nursing. They had nursing, mechanics. I can't think of all of them, but it was like
engineering.
Trade school.
Yeah, welding.
Yeah, they had all of those, and they would go and they would earn certificates, and after high school, you know, they'll be able to either enter a trade or go to, you know, community college-based vocational training program, or they'll go to a university. So they have, you know, new incentives. Obviously, we're comparing to 1956, but
they had it in 1956.
Yeah, but
in Africa. Yeah, I don't know about other panels.
I don't even know if they had it in America. I don't know, but I would think they did.
They had some light potentially on it.
Yeah,
because who knows, you know.
You have to be when you have to decide.
I think when you are in the third year of high school,
that
year you choose your own subjects. And by doing so, I think we are now going to produce a lot of engineers. I mean, people who can manage our technical operations or all those things, yes.
What about Mexico, Paco?
Well, ma'am, Mexico has been carrying it out, shall I say, a great campaign within the last 10 years because we have, as a matter of fact, the percentage of ignorant people is fairly small, I should say, to the rest of those ones who know, and it wasn't like that 10 years ago.
What are you, about 60% literate in Mexico now?
No, ma'am, I guess a little more.
More than that?
At least 75.
Okay.
At least 75.
About 10 or 20 years ago, it was less than 50, wasn't it?
Yes, ma'am. It was something like that. See, what happened was that the government has opened up technical schools and is giving all kinds of facilities and make better teachers, you know, better systems of teaching. And we've been getting places, as you say, with that system. I think it's worked, and it's the purpose of the Mexican education to teach the masses of the people. I'd like to know what the rest of the fellows here have to say in concerning the education because I'm very much interested.
See, in India, the British, the system that was under the British and that was enforced by the British, the main purpose of that system was to produce scribes and clerks and amanuenses who most of them would not like to work with their hands. They did not understand the dignity of labor. So they always wanted these white-collar jobs and to sit in a desk and scribble away. They didn't want to use their hands. But when our national government came into being, they changed that system because we knew that unless we realized the dignity of labor, India could not go far. And so the government changed the system. And now we have in quite a number of places, quite a number of schools are after the basic system. The basic system is a system in which you are taught woodwork and metalwork and agriculture and all in the lower classes. You start down in the lower classes.
I see you made a face.
Yeah, I wanted to finish hearing what he had to say.
I did too, but I just want to make a small mention is creating them, like having them to be more versatile.
Versatile, but it seemed like they took away those jobs. I feel like we are all born with gifts. We all born with, you know, skills that we could do better than anybody else, right? So there are going to be some people who could sit at a desk and type faster than anybody and get the work done. There are people who can work with tech and work with computers better than anybody, fixing problems, right? And of course, I'm talking about computers, and this is 1956, and I know that they had computers. I'm just saying, like, today we heavily so depend on computers. But you know, there's people who are good at those jobs. So don't take it all away. Just see where the people are good at. See what skills the people could have and use in those areas. That's not saying that people would not be good at woodworking or somewhere else. And like you said, to make them versatile, that would be good as well. But if a person is good at sitting down, creating an organized atmosphere for a job or a government office or whatever, let them do that.
Nah, that's a bar. Because I agree with that too, but as well as understanding that what y'all have in play works. Your purpose is a puzzle piece. It matches and it adds. It don't take away. So if y'all taking away from the kids of this white collar job that they could potentially do, and then adding all these other groups of things, you're taking away from a group of people. Because everything works out for everybody. You just got to figure out who's there for what reason. But don't never take from a puzzle piece. Always add to it.
Right, because just thinking about my skill set, like, you know, working in law, I learned a lot that I took over to our business even. And in other jobs that I've held, being organized, knowing how to, you know, operate different systems.
I kind of got excited when you said that, though, about how you took the law, put it up. That's a bar.
Knowing how to construct contracts and things like that. And that brings me back to our schooling. And of course, you and I went to two different schools, two different high schools. But I remember after 9th grade, after like the freshman year of high school, when you get to 10th grade, that's when you go down the career track. I chose nursing. I don't know why. I've wanted to be an attorney all my life. I don't know how I got on the nursing side, but I eventually changed it. I eventually changed it because I don't like the sight of blood. But like, it's a career track that the students in my high school were able to go down, that, you know, helped us to get into the colleges that we wanted to get into. Help us get those certificates, those skills underneath our belt, so that we don't, you know, just go to university and ignorant to what we're getting ourselves into.
America is a knotted rope. Each knot that you grab takes you to the next level.
Like
we have all that set up for us. Some people just got to do the research and know it's there. And if you don't, then you're just going to be hanging at the bottom.
Right. I mean, and I'm thinking, like, if they did take that away from us and just to teach people the dignity of labor, sitting at a computer, working with computer systems, that's labor.
That is.
Okay?
Yeah.
To be able to sit down all day and keep your focus and keep on task.
Coffee.
Like, that's work. That's a different skill set. You're really working your brain.
Yeah.
Like, you're working. Maybe we're not working with our hands as much as a mechanic, but it's work. It's a lot of work, and it's stressful.
That's your geniuses.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
So that by the time you get up, you don't have anything against the dignity of labor.
And you do have compulsory education for all children in India now?
Our constitution says that every child should have at least primary education, compulsorily. But
that's not true yet in the Gold Coast, is it, Nini?
Free, but not compulsory. I mean, the schools belong to the local councils, the various local councils. And, I mean, everybody can go to the school, provided you get admission to the school. That's the problem.
Are your teachers British, or did they study in Great Britain? Or?
Oh, yes, most of our teachers do study in Great Britain. I mean, we get a lot of, at this stage, we do like to send a lot of students to various parts of the world. I'm happy to say that, I mean, I suppose this morning, a lot of Gold Coast students arrived at Adelaide Airport. When I was coming, I came with 15 on the same plane, coming to study in the States, yes. And
what were they going to study here, Nini?
Well, they are coming to study in the various fields of study. Most of them like to go to the various, the best universities we can get so far in the world. I mean, for instance, we don't recognize almost all the American colleges. We recognize just a few of them because we like to produce the best.
That's good.
Yes, that's what we do. At present, we like to send, a lot of students overseas to study various things to come and replace the Englishmen as they go.
Do they pay their own money or?
Yes, on the Gogo's money. The Gogo's is, comparatively a wealthy country.
But it's a government scholarship, I think.
It's government scholarship, yes. Most of them are sent by the Cocoa Marketing Board.
The Cocoa Marketing Board.
Yes, the Gogo's is the chief producer of cocoa in the world. We produce 50% of cocoa. In order to keep the price of cocoa constant in the Gold Coast, we set up this board, and the board buys cocoa at £3 a bag in the country, and we sell it to the United States at £15 a bag, thereby creating a large amount of profit, and we use this profit to balance the price in the country in case the price falls in the world market, so always the price is constant.
You're telling the United States now.
Oh yes, I'm telling them. It's something, which is not secret. We like to get the money there. Without that, we can't carry on with the Volta River project, for instance, which is going to cost.
I want to ask you one more question. What is the most significant development in your country in your lifetimes? Because you've really been living history, people who are 17 and 18.
In India, the most important political development was that India got its independence from the British. That was in 1947.
Do you remember that? What do you remember about it?
Well, at that time I was just 8 years old.
Wow.
And as I remember, the day the independence was declared, I was up in a hill station. Hill station is a town in the hills now. And I was studying out there. So one day my uncle came, and that was Independence Day. And he told me that India had got independence. I was very happy. I didn't know why, but I was.
I think it is a gradual, development towards self-government. Because throughout my lifetime, I think about 4 years ago, the Gold Coast was wholly under the British. But we had to fight for our independence. And at present, we've got internal self-government. And we believe that before the end of this year, we are coming to join the United Nations Organization, for instance.
What would you say, Paco, for Mexico?
Well, for Mexico, I think it has carried, shall I say, the flag throughout Latin America. In the 1800s, we were the first country who got its independence in South America, that is in Latin America. We were the first country who had a university within the American continent. We were the first country in the 1850s who separated the church from the state. We were the first country in 1910 who had, who planned and had a well-planned division, shall I say, of the land of the big landowners against the people who had nothing. And in 1939, we gave a huge step forward to gain the basis of our economy, which is oil, and we took it away from the American company.
And that you remember well, I'm sure.
Let me. I'm gonna let it finish.
Sorry, our time's gone.
Yeah.
It went so quickly.
Nah, because we do have some Mexican supporters.
Yeah, we do.
Y'all should be proud.
Yeah.
Because look at the time. Look how he was just so, he had a whole resume.
Yeah, I don't like the rift that we have now, though.
I feel it.
I don't like it. But we've always received a warm welcome from Mexicans anywhere we went. Especially coming from a place like Louisiana. We're right next door. But I feel like when we moved to Texas, we saw a shift in the population.
Oh, big facts.
And we received a warm welcome from them. No stares, no. It was just a warm welcome.
Louisiana is diverse.
It is.
But I feel like since I've been to Texas, I have seen
way more
diversity than I ever seen in my life. We've been places before.
In Houston. Maybe in Houston, more diversity there.
Well, from what?
Dallas. You know what? No, you got a point. Dallas is diverse.
It is.
But because there's so many different suburbs in the Metroplex.
I met all my Philippines out here.
Yeah.
I met all my Africans out here.
Yeah.
I met all my Mexicans out here.
I'm thinking of where we live. That's why.
Oh, yeah, you good. Nah, but I feel like it's madly diverse out here, too, bro. Even whenever we came out here for our anniversary, we just wanted to do a little vacay. Our first encounter, I think, was with an African, and he was working. He was he was a security, and we was parked in a spot where we could have got towed. We were going to eat ribs that day. At Fridays, I think it was called.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And he was mad cool. He's like, oh, y'all good. I'm on work. I'm on security. Y'all good.
I'm going to just pass by. I'm going to watch y'all call.
Yeah, he said,
hold on, what you going to watch our call?
So he's like, y'all good. We went around the corner and we ate. Yeah. So a lot of different encounters out here. Man, cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, this was a nice conversation. Saw a little growth in all of them.
Facts.
Honestly.
Even hairstyles. Yeah. Philippine, my boy cut his hair off.
Okay,
my boy had the line up and everything. Nene had the fro.
Nene had that line.
Nene had that line in his head. Yeah. That you.
Yeah, so this is a good video. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our join feature to become a VIP member of the channel. Send in your reaction request through our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.